We only kept you for the tax perks, my mother said, smiling. At my 25th birthday dinner in the middle of a bustling restaurant on a Friday night. 6 words. That's all it took to shatter 25 years of everything I believed to be true. But here's the part my mother had no idea about. I had been preparing for this precise moment for 8 months. And the people sitting 3 tables behind her, they weren't strangers. I didn't cry. I didn't storm out. I reached into my bag and pulled out an envelope, and everything inside that restaurant shifted. But to understand why, you need the full story. Before I continue, if this story resonates with you, take a moment to like and subscribe and drop your city and local time in the comments. I love seeing where people are listening from. I'm Paige. I'm 25. I live in one of those small towns where everyone knows your name and your parents' version of the truth. Now, let me take you back 8 months to the night I discovered a folder that was never meant for my eyes. 8 months before that dinner, I'm on my hands and knees in my parents' basement sorting through boxes. Lorraine, my mother, asked me to clear space for my cousin Brittany's belongings. Brittany's moving back to town after a breakup, and apparently, the basement needs to be spotless by next week. Lorraine didn't ask politely. She never does. She just left a sticky note on my apartment door. Basement Saturday, don't forget. So here I am, coated in dust, dragging cardboard boxes across a concrete floor. Most of it is old Christmas decorations and Glenn's fishing gear. But tucked behind the water heater, I find a box sealed with packing tape. Lorraine's name scrawled across the top in faded marker. I shouldn't open it. I open it. Inside, a manila folder. And inside that folder, my entire life shifts. An official adoption certificate. A birth certificate I'd never seen before. The original one with the name Baby Girl Dunar typed in the center. And underneath both of those, a receipt from a tax consultant. A single line highlighted in yellow. Adoption tax credit. $5,400. I sit on that cold basement floor for 40 minutes, not crying, just recalculating every memory I have. Every time Lorraine reminded me how lucky I was. Every time Glenn looked away when I asked about baby photos. Every Christmas card that read our greatest blessing in Lorraine's handwriting, sent to every neighbor on the block. I pull out my phone and call my best friend Claire. She answers on the second ring. What's wrong? I need you to come over. Not to the house, to the parking lot behind the clinic. Paige, you're scaring me. Just come. I fold the birth certificate, slide it into my jacket pocket, and return Lorraine's box exactly where I found it. But the name Dunar burns against my ribs the entire drive to the clinic. That name would change everything, but not yet. Claire meets me in the gravel lot behind Dr. Weller's vet clinic, still wearing her scrubs from the afternoon shift. She reads the birth certificate under the dome light of her Civic, then reads it again. Dunar, she whispers. You ever heard that name before? Never. She sets the paper down. Remember the DNA kit I gave you for Christmas? I do. An ancestry kit. It's still in the plastic wrap, shoved in my bathroom drawer. I told her I didn't need it. I told her I already knew who I was. That feels like someone else talking now. Use it, Claire says tonight. So I do. Cheek swab, registration code, seal 6 weeks to keep my face neutral. And for 6 weeks, I watch Lorraine with fresh eyes. I notice things I'd always seen but never named. The way she says, after everything we've done for you, whenever I ask to borrow the truck. The way she tells the neighbors, every single one, how adopting me was the hardest and most selfless decision of her life, but her voice carries pride, not pain. The way Glenn goes quiet whenever Lorraine starts that story, finding something fascinating to look at on his shoes. I keep paying my $400 rent on the converted garage apartment behind their house, and I keep showing up for Sunday dinner. I keep saying, "Thanks, Mom," when she passes the potatoes. Claire asks me once over coffee at the clinic, "How are you holding up?" "I'm waiting," I tell her. She gives me a look. For what? For proof. What I don't tell Claire yet, what I barely admit to myself, is that I'm also waiting for something worse. I'm waiting to understand why a tax receipt was filed next to my birth certificate as if they belonged together. The email arrives on a Tuesday during my lunch break. I'm sitting in my car in the clinic parking lot, eating a granola bar, scrolling through my phone when the notification drops. Ancestry close family match found. I stop chewing. I tap the link. The screen loads slow, the way everything loads slow in a small town with terrible signal. And then there it is. Helen Dunnar, age 47, location, Ridgemont, a town 2.5 hours east. Match confidence 99.7%. Relationship parent. As I stare at her profile photo, a woman with short brown hair and a tired smile standing in front of a garden. She's wearing scrubs. She's a nurse. Community health clinic. It says, married to Tom Dunar, 49. One son, Cody, age 20. I have a brother. The granola bar sits untouched on the passenger seat for the rest of my lunch hour. I try to write an email 7 times. The first 6 are too long, too desperate, too angry, too careful. The 7th is 3 lines. My name is Paige. I believe you may be my biological mother. I'm not angry. I just want to know. I hit send before I can delete it. 4 hours later, my phone buzzes. 1 line from Helen Dunnar. I've been waiting for this email for 25 years. I read it 3 times. Then I lock my phone, press it against my chest, and sit in the clinic parking lot until the sun dips behind the tree line. For 25 years, I thought the people who raised me were the only family I'd ever have. Now, a woman 2.5 hours away is telling me she's been counting the days since she lost me. But Lorraine Mercer doesn't know any of this. Not yet. For 3 months, I live in 2 worlds. On my days off, I drive 2.5 hours to Ridgemont. The first visit, Helen's hands shake so badly she nearly drops the lasagna dish. Tom shakes my hand at the front door and says, "Welcome home, kid." Like he's been rehearsing it all week and still almost can't get it out. Cody, 20, lanky, loud, shows me photos of Helen when she was young. "You've got her chin," he says, grinning. "Sorry about that." Helen opens a small jewelry box on the kitchen counter. Inside is a faded hospital wristband, so tiny it wouldn't fit around 2 of my fingers. "Baby girl Dunbar? She's kept it for 25 years. I lit a candle every March 15th, she tells me, eyes wet. Every single one. I visit 4 more times over the next 3 months. Each time the drive feels shorter. At a follow-up, I realize she's never asked a follow-up. I realize she's never asked me a single follow-up question in my entire life. Not out of respect for my privacy, but because she genuinely didn't care about the answer. In my apartment at night, I read Helen's letter. She wrote it on hospital stationery. 2 pages, front and back. Careful handwriting that gets shakier near the end. She tells me about the night I was born, about the family pressure, about a 22-year-old girl with no money and no one in her corner. I keep the letter in an envelope in my bag. I carry it everywhere. 3 weeks before my birthday, Lorraine does something she hasn't done in 5 years. She offers to take me to dinner. Maggie's place, Friday night. "Just the 3 of us," she says, though we have something important to discuss. That sweetness in her voice. I've only ever heard it when she wants something. I know exactly what's coming. 2 weeks before my birthday, I come home from work and find a typed note on my kitchen table. No greeting, no "Dear Paige," just a single paragraph. Effective next month, rent for the garage apartment will increase from $400 to $850 per month. If this is not workable, a 30-day notice to vacate is required. Lorraine's signature at the bottom. Neat. Final. I sit down and do the math on the back of a grocery receipt. $850 for the apartment. $350 for health insurance if I get dropped from the family plan. And something tells me that's next. That's $1,200 a month on a vet technician's salary before food, gas, or the student loans I took out for community college. It doesn't work. It's not meant to work. As I walk across the yard to the main house, Glenn is in the kitchen pouring coffee. "Did you see the note?" I ask. He doesn't look up. "Your mother has her reasons page. Brittany needs a place." "And where do I go?" Glenn stirs his coffee. The spoon clinks against the mug 3 times. He doesn't answer. I stand there for 10 seconds. Then I walk back to my apartment, open my laptop, and search rental listings in Ridgemont. Studios start at $650. 1 bedrooms around $800. Tight, but possible, especially if I transfer to a clinic out there. I don't argue with Glenn. I don't confront Lorraine. Not because I can't, because there's a difference between reacting and being ready. And I learned that difference the night I found a tax receipt filed next to my birth certificate. Lorraine wants me dependent. That's her leverage. The cheap rent, the insurance, the documents she's held in a locked box my entire life. But leverage only works when the other person has no options. I'm building options. The next morning, I sit in the clinic break room and call the insurance company. "If my parents remove me from their family plan before I turn 26, I ask, what are my options?" The representative is polite, efficient. "They can remove you at any time. You'd have a 60-day qualifying event window to enroll in a marketplace plan. What's the cheapest plan in your area?" She types. E, for a single 25-year-old in a rural zone, roughly $300 to $400 per month. High deductible.